Alumni from San Diego State University's Journalism and Media Studies department are all over the country. They work in broadcasting and print. They cover news and sports, weather and fashion. They write about wine and food. They are social media influencers. They work in PR and advertising and sales and traditional marketing and online marketing. One wrote a book that was on the New York Times bestseller list. One wrote a blockbuster movie that was the #1 movie in America. And one of them, believe it or not, is even a minor league baseball play-by-play announcer. They write, they speak, they use every current technology that exists, and they are prepared for whatever technology comes next. This is a podcast to celebrate these alums and hopefully to inspire the current students in the Journalism and Media Studies department to achieve their goals and to continue to make us proud. The podcast is titled, Where Are You At? Because sometimes proper grammar is overrated. And also, we want to know, alums, where are you at? I'm your host, Josh Suchon, extremely proud alum from the class of 1996, but more about me later. In this inaugural edition of the podcast, our goal is to give you a preview of what to expect in the weeks and months and the years to come. And also, we want to introduce you or reintroduce you to the director of the Journalism and Media Studies department. His name is Dr. Temple Northrup. He began right in the heart of the pandemic when nobody was on campus and nobody was allowed on campus. And he's now a couple of years into his tenure, and he joins us now. So Temple, a belated welcome to San Diego State University and this podcast.
Thank you very much. And I'm thrilled to be launching this podcast, to have you taking the helm on this exciting idea that we've been chatting about and visioning for a while. So I'm excited to see it get off the ground.
Yeah, so we're going to do this once a week. We're going to do it during the spring and the fall semesters. We're going to talk to a wide variety of alums. I've been compiling a database, and it's just super fun to connect with my old friends from college and to network and learn about all these other alums that came before me and came after me and find out all the really cool things that they are doing. And so I'm really excited about that. But I want to introduce you a little bit more on what's going on with the department, Temple. So tell us, what should we know about what's going on with the Journalism and Media Studies department?
A lot is going on these days, and some exciting new things and some strengthening of things that most of you, especially our alumni, are probably pretty familiar with. First, I'd just like to say that overall, when we think about the School of Journalism and Media Studies, our mission, our vision is to really be training the next generation of innovative and ethical storytellers. That is the thread that we really see as tying the school together. Because as you just mentioned, our alumni and our students are all over the place in many different careers, from the traditional journalism, PR, to all the new frontiers that exist in digital media. And that the thread that really does tie it all together is storytelling, because that is at the heart of what all of our majors learn here and what all of our alumni are ultimately doing. And so that is a focus of what we try to instill and inspire in our students, is to learn that art, learn the craft of storytelling. And obviously, if you're doing it from a journalism perspective, it's going to be a little different from if you're working on the PR side of things. But understanding what makes a good story, what's compelling, what information do you need to have in there, all those elements are fundamental across the different types of stories you might tell, and really even across the different platforms that you might use to tell the story. And so that's something that the strength in writing and understanding storytelling, I think, is something that has been common for the entire existence of the school before it was in its current incarnation. That's something that goes back decades, even a century, to when our first journalism courses started existing, was that understanding of storytelling. And so we like to double down on that, while also innovating and looking at what are the new platforms. We have a huge following on TikTok right now. We launched that in the fall. And so we're pushing the boundaries while respecting those fundamentals.
Well, I remember when you started, it was a little over 2 years ago, and I remember receiving some email, and you were introducing yourself, and you basically said, alumni, where are you at? And who wants to be involved? And that's where we started our conversation. We're hoping to get more and more alums involved. So, Temple, if more alums want to be involved in the department, what are the different ways that they can do it, and how do they go about being involved?
So the number one thing you can do, of course, is just to reach out to me. I'm easy to find. You Google Temple Northrup SDSU. I'm the only one here. And so just to reach out. So that's step one, is just to reach out and just say, hey, I'm an alum and I'd like to get involved. And that can start a conversation of where are you at? What are you doing? Just physically, where are you located? Because that influences, how you might get involved. What's your job? What's your career? What point in the career are you? All those types of things help me figure out, what's the best way to plug in. Some I might say, hey, you got to talk to Josh because we've got this amazing podcast and you have a story we want that I think might be interesting for others. We're looking to launch a mentorship network that's JMS focused. So pairing up alumni, both young and older alumni, with current students to just kind of hear about what's going on out in the world of media, to try to give that mentorship. And so there are a lot of different ways that alumni can get connected. You could come talk to classes. So it's really a varied approach. And so it really depends on getting that connection and understanding, what might be your interests. And I'll just use you as an example. We connected a couple of years ago. We've been talking, trying to figure out, how do I get you plugged in? And here we figured out this podcast is a great example of how alum got connected. You got connected. You are, as you're hinted at, and we'll learn more later, a broadcaster, play-by-play, so you know how to talk. And so this is a great way where we're connecting with you and then using this as a way to connect with more alumni.
All right. Well, let me say this to you, Temple, and to the audience, a couple of promises that I will have for you. I promise that I will not only interview my friends. Okay. That's first. Now, I'm extremely proud that I'm just, number one, that I am still friends with so many of my former students from the 90s. And I'm really proud of all the different things that they are doing with their careers. And I love to brag about my friends. I don't like to brag about myself, but I love to brag about my friends and all of the great things that they are doing. But I will not only interview my friends, I'm going to meet new friends from the JMS Alumni Network and become friends with them. And I also promise that I'm not going to only interview sports people. I could probably do 2 years in a row of only interviewing sports people. But as we mentioned at the top, we're going to interview people who work in PR. We're going to interview people who work in a hospital, who work for district attorney's office, who cover food and wine and social media and influencing. And so that's my promise to you, Temple, is that this will be a good mix of ages and occupations from within our great department.
That's so great to hear. And I think it's exciting because one of the things I often will tell students or parents of potential students is majoring in any of our majors. Obviously, it sets you up for those specific careers, but it really sets you up for almost any career. And I think that's what, when we look at our alumni, obviously the bulk of our alumni are working in very clear paths that are, if you are a journalism major and you're working for a newspaper, that connection is obvious, and we want to hear from those, but also hearing about people who have found a more circular route, perhaps, to a career that you would not expect necessarily from somebody who was a journalism major.
And another thing, Tim, this actually came up yesterday, the day before we recorded this podcast, in terms of just making sure that the department and students know about opportunities. I saw this fantastic opportunity with Major League Baseball's website. And so just making sure that we have a pipeline where I know and other alums know this is where we can send these job leads, these fellowship leads, these internship leads, to get the word out to students and recent graduates that there are these opportunities. So get out there, apply, and continue to get out there and make us proud.
Yes, absolutely. And the best way to be connected, besides obviously emailing me, is step one, but also finding us on social media. If you want to know, like, what is going on at the school, places like Instagram are great. But then as an alum, especially if you go on LinkedIn, that's where we'll post things that are more professionally oriented, that aren't necessarily, oh, we're holding an event on campus next week, because most alum would not really care about that. But if we have a job that might be interesting, especially if alumni have jobs or even internships that they want to just spread the word out, then that's the way to really find out.
Yeah, let me follow up on a little bit more. Again, it's not that hard to find on LinkedIn. It's SDSU, Journalism and Media Studies. A lot of the people who I have found, who I did not know, who are on my database to interview for this podcast. I found through there. And so continue to hit that up, to find different people and to post jobs and to look for jobs from that LinkedIn site.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's social media is our friend. It can also be our enemy at times, but it also has the potential to be our good friend.
Okay, we're going to keep this first podcast fairly brief, but anything else that we should know about the department and yourself, Temple? Again, I know it's crazy for you to start in the summer when you were not allowed on campus and you're trying to get up to speed with this new job as everyone is doing remote learning. Now you're able to go inside the office and actually see people and interact with students, and just kind of final thoughts about, where we're at with this department right now and the exciting things happening.
I think I'm so excited to see where we go in the next few years. I was attracted to the job and moved during a pandemic, in part because I have so much respect for this university. I have so much respect for everyone who is here now and those who've come before. I've had my eye on this for a number of years. And so when the opportunity came up, it was a no-brainer to apply. And so now that I feel like we're moving into this new world post-pandemic where we're out and connected again, I'm excited to see where we go next and how we're able to grow the program.
All right, Temple, once again, welcome to America's finest city. We're proud to have you. I'm so thrilled that you did what you did at the beginning to reach out to alums, to get us involved so that we can mentor, so that we can do guest speaking, so that we can rally together at a tailgate for a football game. I know you guys organize that in the fall, and just to continue to keep all of us attached to each other, whether we went to school at the same time with one another or not. It's just a really exciting time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for launching this podcast.
All right. Once again, my name is Josh Suchon, class of 1996. I'll be the host. I'll be interviewing a wide variety of SDSU alums in the weeks and months and years to come. So subscribe, tell your friends, let me know if there's someone who you think that we should be interviewing. If you want to advertise on the podcast, let us know. If you want to sponsor it, we'll definitely do that as well. Get in touch with Temple, donate, just be a part of it. And again, subscribe, and we look forward to giving you some great stories about San Diego State alums. This is the San Diego State Journalism and Media Studies Podcast. Where you at?